ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Wait, that don't sound right. Cut. Live action, you already know what it is. Wait, that don't sound right either. Cut. Alright, take 3. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Shimigami X, aka Captain X, leader of Squad X, president of Squad 00, here today to give you your long-awaited Bleach chapter review. Today what I'm going to be reviewing for you is Bleach chapter 606, entitled The Divine Division. Now that sounds right. Hey guys, long time no see. I know it's been a long time since I did the Bleach review and stuff. I've been so busy with work and all that business. A lot's been going on in my life. I've had deadlines to meet. It's been a rough road. It's been a rough road, but we're here today to talk about Bleach. So let's talk about this latest chapter. So nonetheless, you know how I do things. We're going to discuss things right after that intro. Now, for the most part, I was only half satisfied with this chapter of Bleach, because I don't know what it is. It's like, although a lot of things are happening, I find the pacing of these last few chapters have been a bit all over the place, and that's just basically Kubo's work in general. Alright, but this chapter is one of those chapters that leaves you asking more questions. And let's go back a couple pages, because there's one page where basically Ichibe is scolding Juha, but then the way he's talking to Juha is almost as if he knows him. And when you think about the interactions that he's had with the Royal Guard thus far, such as when he first bumped into Shutara, he's like, basically, oh, so it's you again, Juha. So they have met each other before, they do know each other. So it does lead the question as to whether these Royal Guard members were a part of the original Gote 13 that Juha mentioned when he took down Yamamoto. And it wouldn't be a far cry to say that, yeah, they were. And if you look at the silhouettes, that some of their, silhouettes match. So it does make sense. So with all that being said, it's clear to see that, these Shinigami, the Royal Guard, are obviously the most powerful Shinigami that there has been of all time. And they all can see that they're able to tangle with... The fact that Ichibe is able to tangle with Juha says that he is at least as strong as Yamamoto was. But with all that being said, we also get a reveal of some of Ichibe's powers in this chapter, which is something good and something positive, and something that I liked from a fan standpoint, and also is quite interesting from in terms of a reviewer standpoint. And it naturally makes sense, because when he hit Juha with his Zanpakuto, which is basically less like a paintbrush, of course it can't cut physical flesh, it's a paintbrush. So that makes sense. I like that Kubo, just stuck with that. I like that his powers are more unique and interesting, that he doesn't cut you, he more or less cripples you in a sense. Also, there's some weird things that go on with Ichibe in terms of just what his general powers are, because if you go back to last chapter, when he says to Juha, you need to stop saying my name so casually, it's almost like there's some kind of curse on his name or something, because you know that Ichibe is the one out of the Zero Division that's known for naming things. And basically, notice how his Zanpakuto is like a brush. When you name something, you tend to write it down or whatnot. Let's say you come up with a name or something, you either write it down or you announce that this is his name. So it's like this paintbrush, he's marking things down, this is the paintbrush that he uses to mark down the names of everything. And that's very symbolic, and I like the way that Kubo has done that. It's subliminal, but I like it. And not a lot of people pick these things up, but it adds weight to the character. And that's just my personal opinion about it. Now, if you're going through the chapter, what do I think of the battle so far? I think, for the most part, the battle's interesting. That how Juha is being affected by Ichibe's techniques, which somewhat surprises me, because the way Juha took down Yamamoto, you'd think that he'd be a little bit more powerful than this. And although we've yet to see Juha's abilities and what he can completely do, I was expecting Juha to put up more of a fight, if that makes sense. Yeah, I understand what Kubo's doing. He's using this time to showcase Ichibe's techniques and abilities, but I figured for these techniques to be effective against Juha, they would have to take more or less all of the Royal Guard members. But the fact that things aren't turning out exactly as I would have presumed is a good thing, and that's good story writing, because as a reviewer, I've always said that if I can predict what's going to happen in your story, technically it's not good story writing, because therefore I could write it myself. So overall, this chapter was, it was a good chapter of Bleach. It was good. It was good in the sense that, it is one of those chapters that leave you with more questions, and those kind of chapters are good for, like, you know, those chapters are good because they're essentially cliffhangers, but they're not just cliffhangers in like make you wondering, oh, what's gonna happen next. It dives in deeper than that, into a sense like, okay, what's gonna happen? Okay, not only is not what's gonna happen next, but how does this work? How does that work? These are things that are good, and these are things that some people say that the only thing that's negative about these situations is that it's an opportunity for plot holes to be left. But here's one thing I need to say with people at Bleach, is reserve your judgment. I've been saying this for the longest time since I've been a reviewer. When things don't make sense in Bleach, just leave it alone for now, because there's been several instances where things were explained later on, and I believe that in basically preceding chapters, things are going to be explained. I'm not saying that there isn't really anything that doesn't make sense, because there isn't anything that's like, oh my gosh, this doesn't make sense, or this is completely broken, or anything like that. There's not really any major plot holes in particular with this chapter. So as a chapter as a whole, it's a good read. And compared to the last chapter, I don't feel it was as good, just simply for the fact that it wasn't as action-packed. But in the grand scheme of things, it is a good chapter, and it does progress the story. And I can see that when this fight scene is going to be animated, it's going to be animated beautifully. Especially, that's in terms for this entire arc, to be honest with you. That's my general thoughts about it. A general short review, just simply because the chapter felt short. When you have chapters that you know, are generally quite action-packed, they tend to feel shorter. And that's just the bottom line. So therefore my reviews are going to be shorter, because there's less content for me to dive into. So nonetheless, a good read this week. And I enjoyed the chapter, and that's my general thoughts about it. Hope you guys have enjoyed my chapter review this week. It's your boy Shin Megami X, aka Captain X. I'm back. Also, President Squad 00. I'm back. Good to be back. Thanks for being patient with me. I'm signing out. And as always, my people, take care and peace. And remember, as I always say, keep it 99+1. You be the man.